So let's go ahead and jump on to the chart. Guys, there have been some technical difficulties on Bitcoin over the last 3 days because Bitcoin has corrected from where it rallied to on Friday of around $42,500. We rallied up here, and that is a very good thing, but yes, we have, in fact, corrected ever since the beginning of Saturday. But the first thing that I need to point out is this trend line right here. Notice this flat level of resistance on Bitcoin. This is set back on the 15th of June at $40,700, and the reason that it is so incredibly critical is because it was the most recent major high that Bitcoin had set. Up until that time, we had seen lower highs right here, lower highs, lower highs. 3 of them, in fact. 3 major lower highs, and they were signaling that Bitcoin was in a downtrend. But now, we have set a new higher high on the daily chart, and that is a new precedent, because if we want to move into an uptrend, we got to see higher highs and higher lows. Now we've seen the higher high, now we just need to see the higher low, and we might be about to see that pretty soon. Zooming into the 4-hourly chart, we can see that Bitcoin has been rejecting for the last 48 hours and change. Ever since we hit our top here on the 31st of July, we have been pulling to the downside for the last day and a half. In fact, we pulled back 8.2%. A lot of people are very concerned about this. A lot of people are worried, like, hey, Jebb, look, Bitcoin just corrected 8.5% in a day and a half. Is that a problem? Should we be concerned about Bitcoin? I'm here to tell you, no, absolutely not. You shouldn't be concerned about this, and there's a very good reason why. Bitcoin has rallied a massive amount in the last 2 weeks. In fact, ever since we bottomed out at $29,500 on the 21st of July, we rallied 43% in the span of 10 days. Looking at the TD sequential, we can see that Bitcoin got massively overextended. We hit a 9 flash on the TD sequential. We rallied pretty far outside of the Bollinger Bands. Lux Algo is incredibly bullish, but even that would tell you, like, hey guys, we need to calm down a little bit. We need to pump the brakes. So yes, we needed a correction. This has been a very healthy thing so far. Make no mistake, a 10% correction after a 40% rally is not a bad thing. It's not the end of the rally. It is currently simply healthy consolidation that we should be happy about. But I do want to remind you of something, and that's what Lux Algo is saying, because Lux Algo is showing a strong buy signal for the first time in 3 months. The last time we saw a buy signal on Lux Algo was in April. It is now August. This is a very good sign for anyone looking for long-term upwards potential. And by the way, guys, if you haven't already signed up for Lux Algo, you should. The link is in the description box down below. If you use coupon code Jebb, J-E-B-B, you'll get 20% off at checkout. Now, there's a few more things I want to talk about here on Bitcoin, and they all show up down on the 4-hourly chart. Bitcoin currently, even though it's in a correction, still has a series of higher highs and higher lows. I'm going to clean this chart up just a little bit. And what I want to show you is this. We see 3 lows right here, and we also see 4 highs right here. All of them are higher than their previous counterparts. We've seen 1, 2, 3 higher lows and 1, 2, 3, 4 higher highs. That indicates that even on the 4-hourly chart, we are in an uptrend. Now, if we do start seeing Bitcoin pull back below the bottom of around $38,500, then yes, we would technically be in a 4-hour downtrend, but I am expecting that to happen. In fact, I personally think that we're going to see Bitcoin pull back down to this $36,500 to $37,500 region. And the reason is, we just had a massive rally. Bitcoin has not seen a massive rally happen in quite some time, and in this case, I think that Bitcoin needs to reset just a little bit more. I think 8.5% might not have been quite enough. I'd like to see Bitcoin pull back 10, 12, 13, 14%. And doing so would pull us back down to this level. So there's 2 major levels of support at play right now. There's this level based on this low here on the 30th of July. This one is at $38,500. And then we also have a level of support right here at $36,500. I'm expecting that Bitcoin is going to pull back somewhere in this region, probably do something like a double or a triple bottom, and then we're going to rally. But the point here is that this small correction is just a smaller movement that is nested inside of the longer term uptrend. I think in the long run, Bitcoin is moving to the upside here. Also, guys, make sure to smash that like button if you haven't already. We got some more technical analysis that we want to do here, because there's actually something else I'm seeing on the daily chart that might be of interest to you, and that is this. There is currently a spinning top showing up on the daily chart. This is a signal that is coming in based on a long lower shadow and a long upper shadow. We also see right here that there's a relatively small body. This is called a spinning top because, well, it looks like a spinning top. It looks like what you might call a dreidel. It looks like one of those little tops that you spin. These are actually very important signals, and the reason they're very important signals is because they indicate indecision in the market. They indicate that the market is, well, indecisive and that it doesn't really know where it wants to go. It indicates that there's a stalemate going on between the bulls and the bears. The reason is this long upper shadow indicates that the bulls tried and failed, and this long lower shadow indicates the bears tried and failed. A lot of times you'll see it showing up at the bottom of a trend, and the reason you'll see it show up at the bottom of a trend or at the top of a trend is because when the market is moving up, before it can move down, there's a moment up there where you're not moving at all. That's what this looks like. When you're moving down, before you can start moving up, there's a moment where you're not moving at all. And that's what we're seeing right here. So there is actually an argument to be made that we may have already found our bottom at $38,500. The reason, and this is a great question, Tim, the reason that I think that we might be headed down to between $36,000 and $38,000 is because we've seen such a major rally. That just typically seems to be about the percentage that you would see pull back. A lot of times you'll see the market pull back about a third to maybe 2/5 of the way that it moved to the upside. So that means that if we move to the upside, $12,000, then we might be expecting to see Bitcoin move to the downside between $3,000 and $5,000. If we move down, between about $3,000 and $5,000. So if we did that, then we would probably move somewhere between $40,000 all the way down to maybe $37,000, which is roughly where I'm seeing. That prediction of moving down to those support levels is based off of where the support levels are, not so much a whole lot else. But there is one thing that I do want to show you, and that's this. Bitcoin broke above the 100 daily simple moving average right here. I'm going to turn off the 200 just to make it clear. We broke above the 100 daily simple moving average for the span of 3 days, and we're currently below it. So this is an important thing. Bitcoin breaking above this is actually very important because the 100 daily simple moving average is oftentimes the thing that maintains the bull market as a level of support. Notice back during 2016 and 17, we would consistently stay above this level, and if we fell below it, we wouldn't fall below it very far or for very long. We would consistently bounce off of it, and it would be the level that the market would generally pull back to for us to continue the rally. Now, in this case, we've fallen far below the 100 daily simple moving average, and a lot of people have used this to say that we are now in a bear market. I don't think that's true. I think we're in a bull market, but we rallied too far too quick, and we needed a correction. In this case, getting above the 100 daily simple moving average would be a very major step for the bulls. And luckily, even though we're not currently above it, we are very close. We did manage to break above it. And another thing, notice we had a non-engulfing candlestick right here. We saw a major green candlestick and then a much smaller red candlestick. This indicates that the bears are in charge, but not by very much. This movement over the last 3 days shows that the bears are in power, but they're not very strong. This is exactly what we want to see. Bitcoin moved to the upside, 40%, $12,000 in 10 days. And whenever you see that happen, there needs to be a correction. Luckily for us, this correction looks like it's probably going to bottom out here around the next somewhere around $37,000 to $38,500. The other thing I want to point out is the Fibonacci, and I want to look for some levels of support here. If we bring out the Fibonacci, we can see that there are several levels of support that we could be looking for. Namely, the 23.6% level, which is where we are right now, is sitting exactly where we are right now. In fact, Bitcoin is currently trading at $39,457. This is sitting at $39,463. So this is the level that we're bouncing off of right now. It very well may hold. If it doesn't, then we also find another level, which is the 38.2% level, which is the most likely retracement that Bitcoin would go to, sitting right around $37,500. Now, like I said, guys, there is a strong argument to be made about, okay, we're going to bottom out at 39.5, or we're going to bottom out at 36.5, or we're going to bottom out at 38 or 38.5. Point is, it doesn't really matter where exactly the bottom is. The point is that Bitcoin is going through a small retracement, and I think we're going to rally from here. Personally, I think that we'll probably move to the downside for the next couple of days, and then we'll start heading back up towards $50,000. I think by the end of the week, we'll probably be back up close to around $42,000, which is where my price prediction for the end of the week is going to come in, which we'll get to a little bit later.